Hi. I'm David McCree. I work at Mule Design. I have a podcast called It Might Get Personal. And it's a musical podcast. How many people have seen it? Sweet. It's hard to get a sense of how many people actually watch your stuff, even though there's analytics and things. It's hard to get a sense of that. So, for those who haven't seen it, it's a video podcast. A guest comes on the show and sings a song that means something special to them, and then we talk about it for a little bit. Generally, I try to get people who have little or no experience singing, because part of the point of the podcast, there's a few things that happen with the podcast. And so let me back up and tell you how the podcast came to be. I am a musician. This is my guitar. One day, I decided to install this pickup in my guitar, which involved hand drilling a hole in the bottom of my guitar. And that's something that you do very, very slowly because you don't want to mess up your guitar. So, while I was doing this, I turned on Netflix and I watched this movie called It Might Get Loud. It's a movie about Jimmy Page, The Edge from U2, and Jack White. And I thought, oh, this will be interesting. I'll get some insight into these guitar players that people think are really great. And you know, I'm mixed on Led Zeppelin. I'm mixed on U2. Jack White is an interesting guy, but they're all good guitarists. So I thought, okay, maybe I'll learn something. It turned out to just be these three guys talking about how cool they were. and walking around their palatial recording studios that are in their backyard. Like The Edge was showing off his recording studio in his backyard, and it's literally the size of this building. And so I was talking with a friend of mine on Twitter about it, and I said it would have been better if it had been called It Might Get Personal. And we actually talked to the guys about stuff. And then I thought, hey, that would be a good podcast. So around the same time that this happened, Mule Design, where I work, decided that we should try to start a podcast network. We had no idea what we were doing, but it was like that scene in the old movies where like, let's put on a show, right? We built a barn and then we put on a show in it, and everybody at the studio was lining up. I have a podcast. I have a podcast. I have a podcast. And I thought, well, I'm going to do something different. I'll do video. I have no idea how to do video. So I had to learn how to do video. I had no idea how I was going to record it, so I had to learn how to record it. But ultimately, what it came down to is that I wanted to create a vehicle and a space for people to come sing songs. When I grew up, I had the good fortune of being in a musical family, and my parents were white liberal Democrats in the Midwest, so we listened to a lot of Pete Seeger and Peter, Paul and Mary and that kind of stuff. And Pete Seeger, of all of the musicians that I have become aware of in my life, probably made the biggest impact on me because I got it at that young age. And if you've ever seen Pete Seeger sing or seen Pete Seeger work in audience, it is amazing. It's inspiring. His whole purpose, his whole reason for being is to get other people singing. That's all he's there for. Plus, he's a total badass. He tanked his own career during the McCarthy communist stuff because he refused to play along. For a long time, he and his wife, Toshi, lived hand to mouth and by the grace of their friends. And even now, it's not like he's rich, but he's in his late 80s, and he still sits down every day, answers mail from people. He still sends songbooks out. In the 50s, he wrote one of the first how to play the banjo books for people who had never even heard of the banjo. So when I started this, I sort of had him in mind, and I also had in mind my first experience with music, which was American punk rock in the late 80s. mid-80s. It happened just as I was graduating from high school. American punk rock sort of came into ascendancy over the British stuff, and that was also amazing. It was a community of people getting together and saying to the music industry and doing our own thing. I spent an entire summer playing to crowds smaller than this in a warehouse because that's all the people that would come to see our band. But it was so great, and they loved it, and we loved them. So all of this is going through my head as I'm thinking about what kind of podcast I want to make. And so it's about these three things. It's about music that you love and that means something special to you. It's about the personal connection that you can make with music. Not just for yourself, but with other people. And it's about getting past this hurdle and this idea that you can't sing. Everybody can sing. Everybody in this room can sing. Everybody in this room could come on my podcast and sing a song. I guarantee it. And I'll play guitar for you. So, when I started trying to get people to come on the show, I realized, oh, that's right. People are scared to do this. And I've talked through it with several guests. There are 24 episodes up there. Many of them specifically address, well, I wanted to do this because I was scared to. And so that's the thing for me is that bravery is not a lack of fear. Bravery is doing something in spite of the fear. And you get up there and you push through that barrier, and then you know you can do it. As I was trying to recruit guests, it's kind of a difficult thing. Nobody, I shouldn't say nobody. I've had 3 or 4 people out of the 24 volunteer and come to me and say, I want to be on your show, I want to be on your show. But I'm frequently scrambling around trying to find people to come on the show, and I have to do a little cajoling, and that's fine. I get it. It's scary. I know one guy who is a working part-time musician. He has a day job, but he's also a working part-time musician. Performs regularly by himself, playing an acoustic guitar and singing in front of people. He will not come on the show because of that lens. He's terrified of the lens, terrified of being on camera. Which is interesting because I've had people say, well, why does it have to be a video podcast? Why don't you just do audio? Because the video is expensive, it's a pain in the ass, I have to edit it. But watching the people sing is a big part of it. It's not just listening. Listening to music in your headphones is good, but it's not the same as actually watching someone sing and watching their face and seeing what they're thinking about. So while I'm in the middle of trying to recruit, an acquaintance of mine said, I was trying to get some people to come down to the studio, and he said, can we heckle? And and I forget exactly what I replied back with. I knew he was kidding, and I made a joke back to him. But this was the tweet that suddenly like gelled it for me. I hadn't put it in these words before, but it's a chance to be brave and have fun. And wow, sorry, I didn't expect to get emotional about that. But it's really important. Sorry. This is weird. So that's the motto of the show. Be brave, have fun. It's a good motto for your life. The more things you're willing to do, the more times you're willing to face down that fear, however irrational it is, however rational it is. It's perfectly reasonable to be scared of going on camera and singing a song that's going to be broadcast for the internet to look at. What a judgmental bunch of pricks, right? It's the internet. Oh my God. But it doesn't matter because you've done it and the people that you love are going to watch that and they're going to be so excited and so happy to see you sing. So part of the goal of the show, this is like a huge goal, right? This is like a Pete Seeger level goal. I'm not Pete Seeger, God bless him. is getting people to sing to each other. I sing. I'm a singer in a band. I've been a singer my whole life. I don't sing to my wife as often as I should. This is my wife, who puts up with me coming into town every month for an entire Sunday and recording these things. And she also drove me in today because. Yeah. So I've got a crap load of these buttons. Anybody wants one? Come see me after we're done here. And we're going to do some singing now. We're going to have somebody sing. Where's Benjamin? This is Ben. He also works at Mule, as previously noted. He is an experienced performer.
Yeah, not really.
He's a princess in a musical, and he's going to sing us a song.
So this is the cut song, if you've ever seen Pitch Perfect. It was performed by Anna Kendrick, written by A.P. Carter. And I seriously just learned this last night, so things will probably spill over. I've got my ticket for the long way round, 2 bottles of whiskey for the way, and I sure would like some sweet company, and I'm leaving tomorrow, what do you say? When I'm gone, you're gonna miss me when I'm gone, you're gonna miss me by my hair, you're gonna miss me everywhere, you're gonna miss me when I'm gone. I've got my ticket for the long way round, one with the prettiest of views. It's got mountains, it's got rivers, it's got sights to give you shivers, but it sure would be prettier with you. When I'm gone, you're gonna miss me when I'm gone. You're gonna miss me by my walk, you're gonna miss me by my talk. You're gonna miss me when I'm gone. When I'm gone, you're gonna miss me when I'm gone. You're gonna miss me by my hair, you're gonna miss me everywhere, boy. You're gonna miss me when I'm gone.